September 17th, 1944, 14,000 feet above Eindhoven, Netherlands. The opening day of Operation Market Garden saw the largest airborne operation in history unfold across the Dutch countryside. Among the thousands of Allied aircraft supporting the paratroop drops, squadrons of P-47 Thunderbolts prowled above the landing zones, their wings heavy with ordnance that would have seemed impossible just 18 months earlier. For the Luftwaffe pilots scrambling to intercept, the sight of these bulbous American fighters carrying 2,500 pounds of bombs, half the typical load of a B-17 Flying Fortress on long-range missions, represented a revolution they had failed to anticipate. The fighter they had dismissed in 1943 as too heavy and clumsy for air combat had evolved into something that defied their fundamental understanding of air warfare. A single-seat, single-engine aircraft that could fight its way to a target, deliver the bomb load of a light bomber, then fight its way home. The transformation of the P-47 from pure interceptor to the most devastating fighter-bomber in the European theatre would not just change tactics, it would accelerate the Wehrmacht's collapse and revolutionize military aviation doctrine forever. What the Luftwaffe never expected was that American industrial pragmatism had created not just a fighter or a bomber, but something entirely new. A universal combat aircraft that could perform any mission at any time with devastating effectiveness. The Republic P-47 Thunderbolt that entered combat in April 1943 seemed to confirm every Luftwaffe prejudice about American aircraft design: big, heavy, powerful, but lacking the finesse of German engineering. When the 4th Fighter Group flew the type's first official combat mission on April 8, 1943, German intelligence officers studying the new American fighter reached predictable conclusions. The technical specifications alone suggested mediocrity. The P-47 weighed 10,000 pounds empty, double the weight of a Messerschmitt Bf 109G. Its massive Pratt and Whitney R2800 double Wasp engine, an 18-cylinder radial producing 2,000 horsepower, later variants would achieve 2,300 and eventually 2,800 horsepower, had to propel an aircraft that seemed to have been designed by someone who had never heard of streamlining. Initial combat encounters reinforced German assumptions. The P-47's early combat radius of just 125 miles severely limited its effectiveness as a bomber escort. Its climb rate lagged behind German fighters, and in turning engagements at medium altitudes, the Focke-Wulf 190 and Bf 109 held clear advantages. German pilots quickly developed tactics to exploit these weaknesses, force the heavy American fighter into turning battles or vertical maneuvering where its weight became a liability. What the Luftwaffe's technical experts failed to grasp was that they were observing an aircraft in its infancy, designed with capabilities that wouldn't be fully exploited for another year. The robust construction that made it heavy, built around steel tubing and armor plating, also allowed it to absorb tremendous punishment and carry extraordinary external loads. The wing pylons, originally intended for drop tanks to extend range, were engineered to carry up to 2,500 pounds of ordnance, a load that would have torn the wings off most contemporary fighters. The transformation started not with grand strategy, but with pragmatic adaptation. As 1943 progressed, P-47 pilots returning from bomber escort missions began strafing targets of opportunity: railway locomotives, truck convoys, fuel depots. The results proved immediately promising. The 8 Browning M 2.50 caliber machine guns, each firing 800 rounds per minute, could deliver 12.7 pounds of lead per second, enough to tear through a locomotive's boiler or shred a truck convoy. The first official bomb-carrying modifications came in November 1943. Engineers installed bomb shackles rated for 500-pound bombs on the belly and wing pylons. On November 25, 1943, the 62nd Fighter Squadron conducted the first official P-47 bombing mission, attacking the Luftwaffe airfield at Saint-Omer, France. 8 Thunderbolts, each carrying two 250-pound bombs, successfully destroyed 2 hangars and damaged 5 aircraft on the ground. The winter of 1943–44 saw Republic Aviation and the USAAF Technical Services accelerate the P-47's transformation. Engineers reinforced wing spars to handle asymmetric loads when only one bomb was dropped. They developed new electrical systems for bomb release mechanisms that could function at 30,000 feet or treetop level. They created specialized gun sights, including the K-14 computing gun sight, that could calculate bombing angles for dive and glide attacks. By early 1944, the modifications had progressed far beyond simple bomb racks. The M8 4.5-inch rockets, each packing the punch of a 105mm artillery shell, gave the P-47 the firepower of a naval destroyer. A single Thunderbolt could carry 10 rockets plus 2 1,000-pound bombs, more explosive power than many twin-engine bombers carried early in the war. D-Day, June 6, 1944, marked the moment when the Luftwaffe fully grasped what the P-47 had become. On that single day, P-47s flew 1,985 sorties, dropping 525 tons of bombs and firing 135,000 rounds of .50 caliber ammunition. They destroyed 86 locomotives, 507 motor vehicles, 38 gun positions, and 17 fuel dumps. The aircraft the Germans had categorized as a mediocre high-altitude interceptor had become the workhorse of tactical air power. Luftwaffe pilot Günther Rall, one of history's highest-scoring aces with 275 victories, encountered P-47s throughout 1944. In a 1996 interview with HistoryNet, he recalled, "The P-47, which as you know shot me down, we knew right away. It had tremendous diving speed and could run up to 1,400 kilometers per hour, where the Bf-10-9 was limited to 1,000 kilometers per hour. I learned this quickly when they chased me, and I could do nothing else." On May 12, 1944, Rall was shot down by P-47s from the 56th Fighter Group, losing his left thumb in the engagement. His damaged flying glove is now displayed at the National Air and Space Museum. After the war, Rall flew captured P-47s at the German Fighter Leaders School for approximately 300 hours, evaluating Allied aircraft capabilities. The P-47's ability to transform instantly from bomber to fighter created an impossible tactical problem for the Luftwaffe. German fighters sent to intercept what appeared to be vulnerable fighter bombers found themselves in deadly combat against aircraft that had just jettisoned their bombs and reverted to pure fighters with superior firepower and remarkable durability. The statistics of the P-47's payload capacity created a mathematical impossibility for German logistics. A standard P-47 D-25 could carry various bomb configurations: 2 1,000-pound bombs, 3 500-pound bombs, or a combination of bombs and rockets totaling 2,500 pounds. This represented 62.5% of a B-17's typical 4,000-pound operational load on long-range missions, hence the reasonable approximation of half the Flying Fortress's bomb load. A squadron of 16 P-47s could deliver 32,000 pounds of bombs, equivalent to 8 B-17 operating at typical combat loads. But unlike heavy bombers that flew from England twice weekly, P-47s could fly 3 missions per day from forward airfields. A single P-47 squadron could theoretically deliver more tonnage in a day than a heavy bomber squadron delivered in a week. The efficiency differential was stark. One P-47 with 2 500-pound bombs required 1 pilot and minimal ground crew. One B-17 with 4,000 pounds of bombs required 10 air crew plus specialised ground support. The fighter bomber delivered significant destructive power with a fraction of the manpower investment. August 1944 brought the P-47's most devastating demonstration of fighter bomber effectiveness during the Falaise Pocket operation. As German forces attempted to escape encirclement between August 12th and 21st, they faced continuous attack from P-47s operating in shifts from dawn to dusk. The authenticated kill claims from Falaise, verified by ground reconnaissance, included August 13th, 112 tanks confirmed destroyed. August 14th, 287 motor vehicles confirmed destroyed. August 15th, 42 locomotives confirmed destroyed. August 16th, 89 horse-drawn vehicles destroyed. The 9th Air Force's P-47 groups operated on a relay system, with fresh squadrons arriving as others departed to rearm and refuel. This maintained constant pressure on German forces attempting any daylight movement. Post-battle analysis revealed that approximately 1/3 of all German vehicles destroyed in the pocket were victims of air attack, with P-47s accounting for the majority of these kills. September 1944 brought widespread deployment of the 5-inch high-velocity aircraft rocket, HVAR, transforming P-47s into tank destroyers. Each HVAR carried a 60-pound warhead capable of penetrating any German tank's armour, including the formidable Tiger and Panther. A P-47 could carry 10 HVARs, delivering the equivalent of a battalion artillery barrage in a single pass. The 362nd Fighter Group pioneered systematic rocket attacks against German armour. Their after-action reports documented the technique, diving from 5,000 feet at a 30-degree angle, releasing rockets at 1,500 feet, achieving direct hits on 30 to 40% of launches, far exceeding artillery accuracy rates. The Battle of the Bulge in December 1944 demonstrated the P-47's evolution into an all-weather fighter bomber. Despite freezing fog and snow that grounded most aircraft, P-47s equipped with British-developed rocket rails and improved instrumentation continued operations. When weather briefly cleared on December 23rd, P-47s flew 647 sorties, claiming over 400 vehicles destroyed. The statistics from December 23rd to 27th, 1944, reveal the P-47's impact. 201 German tanks confirmed destroyed, 1,930 motor vehicles destroyed, 953 horse-drawn vehicles destroyed, 89 locomotives destroyed, 512 rail cars destroyed, 47 bridges damaged or destroyed. January 1945 revealed another P-47 capability, precision bridge busting with 1,000-pound bombs. The 56th Fighter Group developed techniques for destroying Rhine bridges that had survived heavy bomber attacks. 8 P-47s could deliver bombs with 50-foot accuracy in 60-degree dives, far exceeding the precision of high-altitude heavy bombers that were lucky to hit within 1,000 feet of their aim point. The deployment of the Me-262 jet fighter in early 1945 should have changed everything. With a 100-mile-per-hour speed advantage over P-47s, the jet seemed immune to interception. But the P-47's evolution into a fighter bomber created an unexpected vulnerability. Me-262S required long concrete runways and consumed fuel at prodigious rates. Their bases became primary targets for P-47 fighter bombers. On March 21, 1945, P-47s of the 365th Fighter Group caught JG-7's Me-262s during takeoff from Leipheim Airfield. The jets, accelerating down the runway, couldn't maneuver or achieve the speed needed to escape. 8 Me-262s were destroyed in 5 minutes, more than the Luftwaffe could produce in a week. March 1945's Operation Clarion saw the systematic destruction of the German transportation network by fighter bombers. P-47s were assigned sectors with orders to destroy anything that moved or could move. On March 22nd alone, P-47s claimed 89 locomotives destroyed, 1,026 rail cars destroyed, 155 motor vehicles destroyed, 17 bridges dropped, 93 rail cuts, tracks severed. The P-47's transformation required continuous innovation. The P-47D-25, introduced in mid-1944, featured reinforced wings stressed for 3,000 pounds external load, universal bomb shackles accepting British and American ordnance, zero-length rocket launchers reducing drag, improved oil cooling for extended low-altitude operations, paddle blade propellers for better acceleration, water injection boosting power to 2,800 horsepower, and the K-14 computing gun sight for accurate bombing. Republic Aviation's Farmingdale and Evansville plants demonstrated remarkable production flexibility. Peak production reached 35 P-47s per day, with 28 major variants produced and 430 field modification kits developed. The plants maintained continuous production for 48 months without stopping for redesign, a feat unmatched by any other fighter manufacturer. Transforming P-47 pilots from fighter specialists to multi-role combat aviators required revolutionary training approaches. The USAAF established programs requiring 200 flight hours minimum before combat, including 50 practice bombing runs, 20 rocket firing passes, 100 strafing runs, 40 hours of instrument flying, and 30 hours of formation flying. This comprehensive training contrasted sharply with late-war Luftwaffe pilot preparation, which had declined to just 110 flight hours before combat with no fighter-bomber training for fighter pilots. American pilots demonstrated competence in high-altitude escort, medium-altitude combat, low-level navigation, dive bombing, skip bombing, glide bombing, rocket firing, napalm delivery, and ground strafing, transitioning between roles as missions demanded. February 1945 saw the introduction of napalm bombs carried by P-47s. The 150-gallon drop tanks filled with jellied gasoline created weapons that could incinerate entire city blocks or forest positions. The 362nd Fighter Group first employed napalm operationally on February 14, 1945, against a Wehrmacht supply depot hidden in Reichswald Forest. 8 P-47s, each carrying one napalm tank and one 500-pound bomb, created a firestorm visible from 20 miles, destroying 3 acres of supplies in minutes. March to May 1945 witnessed the P-47 at its evolutionary peak. The P-47M, capable of 470 miles per hour, entered service with performance matching early jets. The P-47N, designed for the Pacific, demonstrated 2,350-mile range with bombs. But it was tactical employment that truly revolutionized warfare. P-47S operated as forward air controllers directing other aircraft, artillery spotters for ground forces, photo reconnaissance platforms, communication relays, psychological warfare platforms dropping leaflets, and emergency supply deliverers to surrounded units. The same aircraft type could perform 6 different mission types in a single day. The comprehensive statistics of P-47 operations define the revolution. Production, 15,683 P-47s built, most produced American fighter. Republic Farmingdale, 9,086 aircraft. Republic Evansville, 6,242 aircraft. Curtiss Wright. Buffalo, 354 aircraft. Peak daily production, 35 aircraft. Unit cost reduction, $105,594, 1942, to $83,001, 1945. Combat operations. Total sorties flown, 746,000 plus. Combat losses, 3,499 aircraft. Non-combat losses, 1,723 aircraft. Loss rate per sortie, 0.7%. Air-to-air kill ratio, 4.6 to 1. Ordnance delivered, bombs dropped, 132,000 tons. Rockets fired, 135,000. 50 caliber rounds, 119 million. Confirmed destruction, European theatre. Enemy aircraft, air combat, 3,916. Enemy aircraft, ground, 3,202. Locomotives, 9,000. Railway cars, 86,000. Motor vehicles, 68,000. Armoured vehicles, 6,000. Horse-drawn vehicles, 60,000. The P-47's evolution fundamentally changed military strategy. Pre-war doctrine rigidly separated strategic and tactical air power, heavy bombers for strategic targets, fighters for air superiority, attack aircraft for ground support. The P-47 merged these roles, achieving strategic effects through tactical means. The destruction of transportation infrastructure by P-47s accomplished what years of strategic bombing struggled to achieve. By April 1945, German forces couldn't move in daylight. Supply lines ceased functioning. Reinforcements couldn't reach the front. The tactical had become strategic through sheer accumulated effect. Strategic bombing survey analysis revealed that fighter-bomber operations, primarily by P-47s, reduced German rail traffic by 75% in forward areas by March 1945. This transportation paralysis contributed more to German defeat than the destruction of industrial targets by heavy bombers. The P-47's success forced fundamental changes in military doctrine. The U.S. Air Force's first doctrine manual in 1947 stated, "The artificial distinction between fighter and attack aircraft has been rendered obsolete. All fighters must be capable of ground attack. All attack aircraft must be capable of self-defense." This represented a complete reversal of pre-war thinking. The 1935 Army Air Corps Manual had stated, "Pursuit aviation's sole purpose is achieving air superiority through aerial combat. Diversion to other roles weakens this primary mission." The P-47 proved that mission flexibility multiplied combat power. A fighter that could only fight was half as valuable as one that could fight and bomb. This lesson shaped every subsequent American fighter design. The P-47's concept proved so revolutionary that it shaped post-war aircraft design globally. When the Korean War began in 1950, the P-47's direct descendants, F-84 Thunderjets and F-86 Sabres configured as fighter bombers, dominated tactical air warfare. The multi-role fighter concept pioneered by the P-47 had become standard doctrine. Republic Aviation's transformation of the P-47 represented American industrial capability at its peak. The company's founder, Alexander Kartveli, had designed the aircraft with exceptional strength margins. The Army Air Forces requested a 6G-capable aircraft. Kartveli built one stressed for 12G. They wanted 500-pound bomb capability. He provided structure for 2,500 pounds. This over-engineering allowed field modifications that transformed the aircraft's capabilities faster than formal design changes. The P-47, leaving Republic's plants in 1945, incorporated hundreds of improvements from combat experience, yet production never stopped for major redesign. The production statistics reveal the industrial miracle: 48 months of continuous production. 15,683 aircraft delivered, 28 major variants, 430 field modification kits, peak production of 35 aircraft daily, 2 plants operating simultaneously, cost reduction of 27% despite capability increases. The P-47's fighter bomber concept influenced every subsequent combat aircraft design. Direct descendants, F-84, Thunderjet, jet-powered continuation of P-47 concept. A 10 Thunderbolt II, named explicitly after P-47, carries ground attack mission forward. F-105, Thunderchief, strategic fighter bomber extending P-47 philosophy. Conceptual inheritors, F-4. Phantom II, multi-role capability central to design. F-16. Fighting Falcon, lightweight fighter evolved into premier fighter bomber. F-15 E-Strike Eagle, air superiority fighter adapted for strike missions. F-A-18 Hornet, dual-role fighter attack from inception. F-35 Lightning II, ultimate multi-role aircraft replacing specialized types. The P-47 established the template. Build strong, build adaptable, let operational requirements drive capability evolution. The comprehensive training program developed for P-47 fighter-bomber pilots established standards still followed today. Modern fighter pilots train for air-to-air combat, air-to-ground attack, reconnaissance, and electronic warfare, a multi-role approach pioneered by P-47 squadrons. The 200-hour pre-combat training requirement for P-47 pilots became the baseline for post-war air forces globally. The emphasis on instrument flying, formation tactics, and weapons delivery accuracy established professional standards that defined modern military aviation. Luftwaffe veterans' post-war assessments consistently identified the P-47 fighter-bomber as a decisive factor in Germany's defeat. The authenticated testimony of Günther Rahl, who flew, captured P-47s extensively after the war, provides crucial insight. In his 1996 HistoryNet interview, he praised the aircraft's comfort, reliability, and versatility, noting particularly that the engine had no oil leaks, unlike German aircraft. Statistical analysis supports veteran testimony. By war's end, the Luftwaffe could muster only about 100 operational fighters on any given day, not from lack of aircraft, but from lack of fuel, airfields, and logistics destroyed by P-47s. The fighter-bomber had achieved what strategic bombing couldn't: complete paralysis of enemy operations. The P-47's fighter-bomber capability provided extraordinary economic efficiency compared to traditional bombing. Cost per ton of bombs delivered: B-17 Flying Fortress, $28,000. B-24, Liberator, $24,000. P-47. Thunderbolt, $4,200. Crew losses per 100 tons delivered: B-17, 8.5 aircrew. B-24, 7.2 aircrew. P-47, 0.9 pilots. Support requirements per ton delivered: B-17, 47 ground personnel. P-47, 8 ground personnel. The mathematics were undeniable. P-47s delivered destruction at 15% the cost and 10% the manpower investment of heavy bombers. The transformation of the P-47 from pure fighter to fighter bomber carrying half a B-17's operational bomb load represents more than tactical evolution. It embodies the American military genius for pragmatic adaptation. The Luftwaffe never expected this transformation because it violated their fundamental understanding of specialized military equipment. German military doctrine emphasized perfection within narrow roles: the best fighter, the best bomber, the best attack aircraft. American doctrine, shaped by industrial pragmatism, emphasized adaptability and efficiency. The P-47 proved that in modern warfare, flexibility beats specialization. When Luftwaffe pilots encountered P-47s over Eindhoven on September 17, 1944, they faced not just an aircraft, but a revolution in military thinking. Those heavy, clumsy interceptors they had dismissed in 1943 had become the instruments of their destruction, not through superior performance in any single role, but through unprecedented versatility. The P-47's combat record in the European theatre from 1943 to 1945 stands as one of the most successful in aviation history. Aircraft performance maximum speed, 433 miles per hour, P-47D. Maximum speed, 470 miles per hour, P-47M. Combat radius, 450 miles with drop tanks. Service ceiling, 43,000 feet. Maximum bomb load, 2,500 pounds. Production excellence total built, 15,683. Monthly peak, 1,050 aircraft. Cost reduction, 27% over production run. Variants produced, 28. Field modifications, 430 plus. Combat effectiveness. Sorties flown, 746,000. Loss rate, 0.7% per sortie. Kill ratio, 4.6 to 1. Bombs dropped, 132,000 tons. Ground targets destroyed, 224,000 plus. The story of how the Luftwaffe never expected P-47s to carry half a B-17's bomb load illuminates a profound truth about military innovation. The Germans, masters of specialized excellence, failed to anticipate that the Americans would blur the lines between fighter and bomber, creating an aircraft that excelled not through perfection in one role, but through competence in all roles. The P-47 Thunderbolts' evolution from interceptor to fighter-bomber didn't just surprise the Luftwaffe, it revolutionized air warfare. Every modern combat aircraft flying today incorporates lessons learned from the P-47's transformation. The heavy fighter that couldn't turn with a Messerschmitt became the aircraft that helped turn the tide of World War II. In the end, the 7-ton fighter that the Luftwaffe dismissed as too heavy to matter became the instrument of their destruction, not through superior performance but through superior adaptability. The P-47 proved that in modern warfare, the winner is not who flies the most specialized aircraft, but who adapts fastest to changing reality. The Luftwaffe never expected P-47 Thunderbolts to carry half a B-17's bomb load because such capability violated their fundamental understanding of air warfare. That failure of imagination cost them air superiority, mobility, and ultimately the war. The P-47's transformation from fighter to fighter-bomber remains history's clearest example of how tactical adaptation can achieve strategic revolution, and how failure to recognize that revolution can doom even the most professional military force to devastating defeat.